So Marie and I started Ever Young training together because Brent Criven made us. So what happened was there was no training around, nothing available. And he said, someone has to do this. And you guys have, if you guys do something, it happens. If other people do it, it just kind of waffles on and nothing goes on. And I'm like, And he goes, so you have to get out there and do it. So we have. And what we're doing is we're actually getting a micro-credential. We're very close, by the way. I was talking to the girl on the weekend.
Great.
So we're getting a micro-credential, which other schools can match against, but we're kind of setting it because we're the first into this kind of...
Setting the standard.
Yeah. We were kind of the first in the education arena. And we're trying to do a school that you have you come out with a bit of a what do you call it?
Postgraduate.
A degree, not a degree.
Postgraduate.
No, a
qualification.
Qualification!
Yes.
That's the word I wanted.
Right.
That you come out with a qualification that you can show people, employers, or just in general, that you have something, that you've actually done something and achieved a standard.
It's the same with, as a nurse, if you want to extend your scope of practice, you have to be able to show the nursing council, and I'm sure it applies to a lot of the other councils, medical, dental, etc., that you have you've had the training to be able to extend your scope of practice.
Yeah.
And that's the key thing. So that's why we have the modules laid out like we do, and then we have the practical.
And we believe that in this business, we need to be safe. And in order to be safe, people need to understand how to do it properly. So we're very open. If you're allowed to inject it, we'll teach you how to inject it, because we really think safety is important. And if you're out there injecting a filler and you don't know that you need to have hylays on the premise, and you don't understand how to treat
vascular
occlusion or
even a bad job,
exactly,
bumpy,
then you shouldn't be doing fillers. So if we can help you and show you all the pitfalls that you need to do and understand some of the anatomy and guide you in the direction of learning even more, that it's really important. So we don't exclude anyone. So you could be a doctor, a dentist, an advanced pharmacist, an advanced paramedic, a pharmacist, and now I think a dental, how does that work?
Oral hygienist. They have a Bachelor of Health, level 7 degree, and the Dental Council has just approved an increase in the scope of practice that they can inject injectables, botulinum and dermal fillers.
Yeah. So if that's the case, welcome aboard. We're here to help you and to help you be safe. And our modules are laid out in such a way that, you'll do a module and then you'll go out and you'll learn a little bit, and then you'll come back in and you'll do another part to the module list, and we'll guide you a bit further along on your journey. So you might be doing your theory and your practical of botulinum toxin beginners, and then you'll go out and you'll learn a few things, and you'll come back in and you'll have questions about stuff, and then we'll take you to a further, a higher level of it, and guide you along so that you don't do any major disasters like we've seen elsewhere. Like, remember that client I had that the nurse injected her and rubbed the Botox when they did their masseters, and her whole face dropped right before her wedding.
Oh no.
And her whole side of her face atrophied because it stayed like that for a year. And when she smiled, this side smiled and this side didn't do anything.
It's like having a stroke.
Oh, it was terrible.
That's a facial nerve.
So you can't massage it when you do your masseter muscles. And we have a portal where we have put white papers and discussions like this to help you with all sorts of other questions that might come up when you're doing these treatments. So I think it's quite important to...
I think it's good to start with baby steps, start with that beginner module, get quite familiar with injecting someone's face, starting to assess them aesthetically, understanding the interplay of muscles and how you individualize it for each person before you start to move on to some of the more advanced areas.
Definitely, if you try and rush it, you're not going to get the nuances of what you need to know. Like another thing that happened to me was I injected this lady's frown and it crackled around the room, this really loud crackling noise, and I was like, oh my god, what have I done wrong? But if they're really dehydrated in their skin, and it turned out she'd had some kind of mega peel not long before but hadn't actually peeled yet, her skin was very dehydrated and it crackles like that with dehydration.
Oh wow.
And who knew that? And like I was in a panic. But you'll find to certain degrees it happens to, you know, some people who are not hydrated or
I find
don't use moisturiser.
With dermal fillers, because you know it's hyaluronic with holding water. So if you inject a really dehydrated skin, you're sort of looking, thinking, where's the filler going? Like the molecules are there, but the fluid's just being sucked out of it. So the minute they start drinking more, plumps up again.
Exactly. Yeah, so little things to know, you know, and we discuss these going through the trainings and the practical courses, and all of our teachers are very experienced nurses or doctors, or even dentists in the industry that have been around a long time and can help you with these little anecdotes around the trainings, I think, that really give you really good value to it. And unless you've got an experienced person, you don't get those anecdotes, do you?
No, and I think like I'm finding with the training days, even just on the initial botulinum toxin, I try and cover off a little bit of the consultation and how you explain it to the person coming in, the start of assessing, and that's a huge part of the practitioner's essentials, is about your facial assessment. And obviously you have to be able to explain a consent form and do informed consent with your client, take photos and get good photos. So all of that is covered in your practical workshops as well.
Yeah, because if you hadn't taken good photographs and they come back to you 2 weeks later and say, oh my goodness, look, my frown, it hasn't worked. And it's really about immobilizing the muscles, not about getting rid of the frown instantly. You can show with the photographs, well, actually your frown has decreased a little bit, and look, you're not moving now, whereas before you were fully moving. And if you have that to show, you'll find that the client understands their
part of that's the consultative process.
Exactly.
And it's so critical that you say to people, this actually is about relaxing muscles. It's not about improving your lines
straight away.
But by default, your lines will improve.
Yes.
But if you've got an etched line there, if it's there at rest, when you relax the muscle, it'll still be there to a lesser degree.
Yeah, because
and will improve it.
Because if you exercise your bicep, you get a big bicep. When you relax that settles down. So you will get a little bit of improvement in the initial stages, but not a complete removal of a line.
Exactly.
And when you first start, you'll catch that a lot. People will go, I've still got lines.
Yes, yeah.
And photos definitely help. So in consultation process, that it's a softening, not an elimination. Yeah. So it's pretty exciting, and we're looking and we're adding more workshops and modules to our program. We have a core program for our qualification, but then we have workshops going on around it for little interesting things that pop up, like exosomes, which is my new thing that I'm really into.
And we also do mono threads and PRP.
There's like everything that we discover that we think is great, we'll incorporate into our school and be able to teach you. Or you can even ask us for things. You can say, hey, I want to learn this, and we'll figure it out for you.
Be great.